Hey guys, it's Mr. Regan. Today we're going to look at factoring trinomials in the form 1x squared plus bx plus c. So the main thing here is the coefficient that goes with the x squared is going to be 1. Okay, anything other than 1, we'll deal with that later. That involves a whole different type of factoring. Alright, so here's our first one. X squared plus 8x plus 16. Alright, so we know that when we have two binomials, such as x plus 1, x plus 4, we know when we FOIL this, we get x squared, we get 4x, we get 1x, and we get 4. We know that we're going to combine those like terms, and 4x plus 1x is 5x. And then we get this trinomial. Okay, so same thing in reverse. We're going to factor this trinomial, and we're going to end up with two binomials. All right. Now, if you look at the example over here, you'll see that that 4 and that 5, they're going to be really important in this. If you look back at the original two binomials that we multiplied, if I take 1 and 4 and I multiply them, I get the last term. If I take 1 and 4 and I add them, I get the middle term. So that's essentially what we're looking for. We're looking for two numbers that when you multiply them they equal 16, and when you add them they equal 8. So start listing them out. Factors of 16. 1 and 16. 2 and 8. 4 and 4. Okay, now one of those pairs is going to add up to 8, and it turns out that it's this one right here. So my binomials are going to be x. I have 2 addition, so this is going to be plus and plus, and then 4 and 4. And if you're not sure, then you take that and you FOIL it, and it will go back to x squared plus 8x plus 16. Okay, so where before we were multiplying binomials and getting a trinomial, now we're factoring a trinomial and getting two binomials. Alright, let's try another one. So once again, we're looking for two numbers that you multiply to get 16, and you add them, you get 10. So once again, in the beginning, you're probably going to list them out. It's not going to be as easy. Okay, those add up to 10. So then I know that since I have two additions, I'm going to have an x plus and an x plus. It's always going to be x as my first term because that's where this x squared is coming in. X times x is x squared. And then I have a 2 and an 8. I can put the 2 there and the 8 there. Or I could have done it the other way around. Doesn't matter. Okay, once again, you're not sure about it, FOIL it. Alright, here's another one. Okay, I know that I'm going to get two binomials. I know that I'm looking for two numbers that I multiply to get 10, add to get 7. This, now you're starting to get used to it. Maybe you don't have to list all the numbers out, all the factors of 10. You probably saw right away that it's 2 and 5. You have two addition signs. So x plus 2, x plus 5. 5 times 2 is 10, 2 plus 5 is 7. Pretty easy once you get used to it. Alright, now it gets a little challenging because now I have a subtraction and an addition. Alright, so I still know I'm going to get two binomials. I still know I'm going to have x here. But now things change as far as whether we're going to be adding or subtracting in those binomials. So let's go back. I have to find two numbers that multiply to equal 6 and add to equal negative 5 now. Alright, so let's think. 1 times 6 is 6. 2 times 3 is 6. Well, none of those are going to equal negative 5 when I add them, but then I have to remember negative 1 times negative 6 is also 6, and negative 2 times negative 3 is also 6, and negative 2 plus negative 3 is negative 5. So since they're negative 2 and negative 3, it's going to be minus 2, minus 3. Okay, now this is our first one where we saw where there were negatives or subtractions involved. So once again, if you're not sure, FOIL it out. Make sure that you're right. Alright, now we have two subtractions, and this one we're solving. So, we had done problems like this before. X plus 5 times x plus 2 equals 0. And we solved that because if I'm multiplying this factor times this factor and it equals 0, one of them has to equal 0. So x plus 5 is going to equal 0, or x plus 2 is going to equal 0, and then I can solve those equations. Same thing here. I'm going to factor into two binomials, and then I'll just have exactly what I have there, and then I'll solve. All right, so we got to factor first. So I need two numbers that multiplied equal -7 and add equal -6. So I could have a +1 and a -7, or a -1 and a +7. I mean, they're my only factors of -7. And to get -6, it's got to be a +1 and a -7. So x plus 1 for +1, x minus 7 for -7. All right, now I'm solving. X plus 1 is going to equal 0, or x minus 7 is going to equal 0. Subtract 1 on both sides, x equals -1, or add 7 on both sides, x equals 7. So now I factored my trinomial into two binomials, then I took it the next step and solved. So it's a combination of problems we're learning today and we learned previously. All right, another solve. Once again, we know that we're factoring. So now I'm looking for two numbers that I multiply equal 25. That's +25. And when they add, they equal -10. And I can think of -5 and -5. So x minus 5, x minus 5. Okay, and if you really think back, this is one of our special products that we learned. Alright, so now x minus 5 equals 0. I don't need to repeat it. It's the same thing. Add 5 on both sides. X equals 5. One solution. Alright, that's it, guys. Good luck with factoring trinomials. And we got a little extra practice with factoring, then solving. Remember, the last term, the coefficient or the constant has to you have to find the factors of that, and then those factors have to add together to be the middle coefficient. Alright, good luck, guys.